Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to explain useState in reactjs with example. This video is very important if you are going to learn about the reactjs because this concept is a key concept in the reactjs because it contains the state management system as well as. So let's get started. Guys, have you seen in the previous video, we are facing the issue when I click on the edit button, it's not updating the record of Amir Parvez. Suppose I clicked it and the record is not updated because I have explained in detail about the rendering of the components in React.js, how all the components render in React.js step by step. So the reason is that React.js do not re-execute the component, so that's why the UI changes are not reflecting. But in the previous video, I also told you React.js have given us the solution to fix this problem, and that is use the useState. So useState is a React hook that let you add a state variable to your component. Actually, when we add the useState variable on our components, React allow us to re-execute dot existing components so that whatever value we change in those useState variables, we can easily reflect those values and we can easily change those value and our function will get executed and the values and the changes got reflected on our page. So guys, let's do a practical example. Here I open the same student record.js file and now I have removed some files, so I'm going to remove them because to make it more clear. So previously we have issue when I'm getting the value of students record, I'm saving in this full name and I'm showing here. So when I click on edit, I pass this, the value of the variable is updated, but it's not reflecting on the UI. So let's do it. Like I click here, you can see the value is updated. The full name is now, my new name is updated, but again, the problem is UI is not rendered. And I told you the reason because React do not allow re-executing of the components. So when I go on the code again, if I use a useState is a function provided by the React, right? So this function allows us to define the value as state. How we are going to do it? I have done that thing in my previous video, but I have not explained this concept use states. But now I'm going to explain this concept in detail. So the difference between the use state and the common variables, or we can say regular variable, is that these variables, when we make changes to these variables, the component do not get executed. But when we make changes to the use state variables, the component get executed. How they get executed, I will explain it. So to initialize the use state, all you need to do is you all simply you need to use state. So you can see here what is use state. Return the stateful value and a function to update it. So that means use state is returning the two things. The first is it's returning the value, whatever value we are going to change. And the second thing is the function to update it. So that means view state actually returns the array of two things. We usually call it destructive array to store two elements. So let me just use it use state, and now I need to pass the default value. Default value will be props dot std name. So whatever name I'm going to getting from the component properties, I will write here, and I'm going to store this in the const and variable name. So as I show you, it's returning two things. The one is array. In the array, it's returning two things. One is value. So I'm going to say it name, and the second is set value. Set value is actually a function. So I'm going to explain this concept in detail. So guys, this useState is returning two things where the first is value. Value we describe here, right? And the second is it's returning the function which is updating the value. I hope this makes sense to you and this concept's clear to you now. So I'm going to remove this logic because we are not using it more. So now what I'm going to do? So I'm going to use this name field insist of full name because I do not need it. So I'm going to commit these changes and name. So this name property will have the value, right? So in value we pass student props dot student name. So name will have whatever the name we are going to generate it, right? So now guys, if I go on the website and you can see here the name is already stored in the name field, and now I'm going to update the name. So all I need to do is set name, and here I will pass new name, updated. So what will happen now? I will also do console.log and name. Okay, if F12. Now if I click on this console and if I click on edit, so you can see here now the record is updated. So what happened actually? What happened on the back end? You need to understand that. Once I click on this edit button, what happened? Its set name function is called. So when the set function name is called on the back end, what is happening? When we call this updating function, it's not only updating the function value, right? It's not updating this name value, but it's also going to execute the function again. So it's also going to execute this component again, right? So that is the reason this when we this component is executed. So that means we will get the new state values and those values got updated. But previously the function is not or component is not getting executed. So that's why the UI changes are not reflecting. So this is the major thing which we need to understand when we are working on the React. And you can see here the name is still showing Amir Parvez on the console. The reason is that when when we execute this line of code, it runs this, but after that it executed this line of code. Till then, the component is not executed. So after finishing this step, it executed the component, and then the name of the value is changed now, and then it shows the new value. So this is how the components are actually working. This is a very important thing. You need to understand this concept. And one more thing which is very important, you need to see here on the app.js, we have three components, one, two, and three. When we are using the useState is actually creating the separate instance of all of these components, right? So that means if I write here console.log component executed because of use state. So now we will see on console what is going to be happen, right? If I rendered this on the console, I can see there's three view states, one, two, and three, right? But once I click here on the edit, I'm going to clear it first so I can show you the difference. I click here, so only one component executed command is executed. Why? Because once I click here, it only executed this useState instance, not other useState instance. So useState is actually on the component level, not on the project levels, right? So whatever the useState I set here on this students.record this component, it is not going to affect this one and this one also, right? So you need to understand this concept as well as because these are the very important concepts which we need to understand. And also, useState is actually a React hooks. How can we recognize that? What are the hooks? Actually, when you can see here, Hooks can be start with the keyword use, right? So yes. So one thing very important, you can see here constant. Why we are using the constant here variables? We are not using the let variables. The reason is that keep in mind we are not assigning the value, right? We call the function here useState, and it's called the concrete value. We simply manage, which was simply managed by the React. We never see that. We just call a function. We never assign a value, right? We only get the latest value from that function. So that is the reason that we are using the const here. So const also got executed again. Actually, when we call this set function, it actually executed the component, but also it executed the constant this line as well as, and it gets the new value from the state because React manages this states on the back end. So that's why we get the new latest value from the state and we are showing that. So this is how we are managing the states. So guys, I've explained in detail about the why we are using the states and the benefits of states in the React.js and with the example. So difference between the regular variables and this use state variables, and also how we can identify and recognizes the hooks from this codes, and we can also see what actually useState is doing is actually updating the complete component, not the complete application or the you can say the reusable components, but only the exact component which we are using it. And also, useState is beneficial for updating the UI on our pages, not only the particular state values. And useState is really helpful in React.js, and it is, I can say, one of the most important concept of the React.js. So please reach out to me if you have any question, if you have any difficulty in understanding this. I'm going to make the more videos on the use states. So please don't forget to subscribe and like my channel. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.